A young boy, cast out from his party, embarks on a journey to become the world's greatest adventurer. Unbeknownst to him, fate has granted him hidden powers, ones he discovers purely by chance. What thrilling adventures await Core? Stay tuned to find out. The anime kicks off with the appearance of a monstrous Fenrir, an S-rank beast capable of wiping out an entire city on its own. This terrifying creature has been attacking a village daily, leaving the people desperate. Having spent all their savings, they hired the renowned adventurer party, Blazing Dragon Fang, to put an end to the beast. One fateful day, as the party lay in wait, the Fenrir finally emerged. It lunged at them, forcing them into an intense battle. Despite their best efforts, the beast proved overwhelmingly powerful. They managed to restrain it momentarily, binding its jaws shut. Seizing the opportunity, the fiery-haired warrior Jolanova soared through the air with his blazing sword and struck the monster with a devastating blow. At last, the beast was defeated, and the village erupted in joyous celebration. Meanwhile, a boy named Core, though a part of the party, played only a supporting role. Unlike his comrades, he lacked the strength to fight. And yet, this very boy was destined to become the hero of this tale, embarking on a journey to save the world. The following morning, the party gathered for a meal. Cholanova, after eating part of his food, carelessly tossed the rest onto the ground. A rude and disrespectful act. Without hesitation, Core rushed to clean it up. Annoyed, Jolanova ordered him to fetch more food. However, the group suddenly turned against Core. "Today is the last meal you're making for us," they declared. Core blinked in confusion. "What do you mean?" Jolanova smirked. "Are you really that dense? You're out. You're no longer part of this party." Shocked, Core stammered. "Why? Did I do something wrong?" Jolanova scoffed. "You're nothing but dead weight. You can't even take down a slime." The blonde-haired mage, Marlevis, chimed in coldly. "The party only allows 4 members. If we want to get stronger, we need to recruit a high-ranking mage. That means we have to get rid of someone. And let's face it, you're the weakest link." Desperate, Core pleaded with them to reconsider, but Jolanova silenced him with a brutal punch to the stomach. "Shut up, idiot! There's no place for you here anymore." Alone and without direction, Core set off on a journey with no destination in mind. A week later, he arrived in a bustling city, standing before a place called Hallowwork. Nervous yet determined, he stepped inside, seeking employment. At the reception desk, a young woman greeted him with a warm smile. "Welcome to Smela Street, sir. How can I help you?" Core took a deep breath. "I'm looking for a job." She nodded and handed him an application form. "Let's start with an interview." As she began asking questions, he answered honestly. "My name is Core. I'm 15 years old, from the village of Hast in Mount Shin. I used to do various menial tasks for the adventurer party Blazing Dragon Fang, a party that recently ranked up to SS rank. But unfortunately, they kicked me out." The receptionist smiled reassuringly. "Don't mention that part. Saying you were part of Blazing Dragon Fang will actually boost your resume. People will see you in a more positive light." She then moved on to the next step. "Now let's test your aptitude. This refers to the natural talents you were granted at birth. Some people have incredible gifts, while others, well, don't. Aptitudes range from G rank, meaning no talent whatsoever, all the way to SS rank, the absolute peak. For example, someone with a low swordsmanship aptitude might struggle to cut through wood, while a high-rank swordsman can slice through steel with ease. After evaluating Core, the receptionist frowned. "You're G rank." Core's heart sank. "So, I have no talent at all?" She sighed. "I'm really sorry, but this limits the jobs you can take." Crushed, Core felt hopeless. "Wait," she added quickly. "We haven't tested you for non-combat skills yet. Blacksmithing, alchemy. There are still options." "Really?" Core's eyes lit up. "Yes, but our specialist, Vienna, is currently away. He handles these evaluations, so you'll have to wait about a week." Core's excitement faded. "A week? I barely have any money left. How am I supposed to survive until then?" She thought for a moment. "How about this? See that sandbag over there? Try lifting it." Core nodded and approached the bag. The moment he grabbed it, he realized it was heavy. He struggled, barely managing to shift it. The receptionist smiled. "That's enough. I know that bag is incredibly heavy, and the fact that you moved it means you're strong enough for construction work. There's a border city in Tycoon Province recruiting workers to repair their walls. If you're interested, I can write you a recommendation letter." Core straightened up. "I'll take it." She prepared the letter, handed it to him, and wished him luck. Arrival at the border city. Upon reaching the city, Core presented his recommendation to the foreman. The man eyed him skeptically. Core was scrawny, hardly the image of a strong laborer, but after a moment, the foreman sighed. "We're desperate for workers. We don't have the luxury of being picky. Fine, you're in." He handed Core his first task, mixing cement and applying it to the walls. "Listen up," the foreman warned. I'll be back in 3 hours to check your work. Don't mess this up. You need to use at least half a barrel of cement by then. Your pay depends on performance, so if you slack off, you'll be losing money. Kor nodded, determined. As he worked, an idea struck him. What if I infuse mana into the cement? If he could strengthen it, the walls would be even sturdier. Kor put all his effort into the job, even though half a barrel barely covered anything. 3 hours later, the foreman returned. His eyes widened in shock. Kor had already covered a massive section of the wall. Kor apologized, explaining that he had run out of cement and that this was all he could accomplish. The foreman was stunned. Wait, you repaired a third of the massive western wall in just 3 hours? He eyed the area suspiciously. How did you even reach the upper sections? I don't see any scaffolding or ladders. Kor simply replied, I gathered the cement, threw it up there, and rolled it into place using this stick. The foreman was speechless. How long do you plan on working here? Kor hesitated. I was hoping for about a week. The foreman sighed, rubbing his forehead. You've done enough for today. Go get some rest. He handed Kor a partial payment, promising to transfer the rest through Hallow work later. Kor's eyes widened. He had been paid a lot. Overjoyed, he vowed to work even harder the next day. The next morning, Kor returned, finishing the remaining sections of the wall with the same insane speed. The other workers were left in shock. 3 days ago, barely a fraction of the western wall was done, and now it's finished? What kind of monster is this kid? The foreman called Kor over. Listen, he said with a serious expression. I can't let you keep working here. Kor's heart sank. What? But why? This project was supposed to provide work for the poor, the foreman explained. If you stay, there won't be any work left for them. The skill you've displayed is on the level of an SS rank. You need to move on to bigger things. Before Kor could protest, the foreman shoved the rest of his pay into his hands. Go. Head to the royal capital. That's where you belong. It was clear he was being kicked out because he was too good. Disheartened, Kor returned to Hallow work and told Kreisel what had happened. She listened thoughtfully. Vienna will arrive in 3 days. But what will you do until then? At that moment, they overheard a conversation at the reception desk. You won't find anyone willing to take a job with conditions like that, one of the receptionists told a female adventurer. Curious, Kreisel approached. What's going on? Her colleague explained. This adventurer needs to hire a miner, but she insists on paying only based on successful results. No upfront payment. And the mine is completely unexplored. Kreisel frowned. That's a tough sell. Maybe I can recommend investors instead. The adventurer shook her head. That won't help. If I don't pay the required taxes within a week, the government will seize my mountain. Kor, who had been listening, immediately stepped forward. I'll take the job. Everyone turned to look at him. Kor continued, back in my village, I used to help out in the mines. I know what I'm doing. Kreisel frowned. Kor, you do realize there's no guaranteed pay, right? Before he could answer, the adventurer scoffed. I need someone strong. A burly dwarf would be ideal, not some scrawny kid who looks like he'd snap in half. Kor stood his ground. I have experience. Just give me a chance. The adventurer studied him for a moment, then sighed. Fine, you're coming with me. Meanwhile, shortly after Kor left, the payment from his construction job was deposited. Kreisel picked up the paperwork and froze. 200 gold coins? Her hands trembled. This is what he earned in 2 days? As she tried to process the absurd amount, she noticed something on the floor. Several of the sandbags used in the strength test. Her colleague reassured her, Oh, don't worry about those. We'll put them away. But Kreisel shook her head. These weren't sandbags. Her coworker raised an eyebrow. Huh? Kreisel took a deep breath. These are mana measuring weights. Wait, what? They get heavier based on the amount of mana a person possesses. Normal people can't even activate them. It takes someone with Royal Court mage-level mana just to trigger them. A stunned silence fell over the room. If Kor had been able to lift one, even slightly, then who exactly was he? The guild receptionist asks Kreisel if she can move these things outside. Kreisel agrees and tries to carry them, but they are too heavy for her. She then remembers how Court lifted them so easily. Later, we see Court and Ulyssia in the forest. Court asks her why there is only one tent. She replies that it's big enough for 2 people. Court, surprised, says that he can't share a tent with a woman as cute as her. Annoyed, Ulyssia snaps at him, telling him not to say another word. She insists that she has been an adventurer since she was 10 years old and could never be considered cute, demanding that he stop saying weird things. She then hands him some food. Court asks if she cooked it herself, to which Ulyssia replies that it barely counts as cooking. She just boiled it. Court smiles and tells her that it's been a long time since someone cooked for him, so he's really happy. In the morning, Court is seen sleeping outside all night. Ulyssia notices that he has repaired her clothes and thanks him. She tells him that they will leave when he is ready and that they need to earn 10 gold coins before the end of the week. Court asks if she has decided where to start digging. Ulyssia tells him they will begin digging somewhere nearby. Court warns her that if she digs randomly, she won't find any ore, so he decides to take a quick look around for something. He then finds a rock and breaks it, discovering many crystals inside. One of them alone should be worth 3 gold coins. Shocking Ulysses, as they have already achieved a third of their goal. After examining many rocks in the area, they gather a large number of crystals. Ulysses suggests selling them, but Court tells her that aside from the first one, the rest are too small to be worth much. Instead, he proposes turning them into magic crystals. At that moment, he transforms one into a magic crystal, stunning Ulysses. She knows that there are fewer than 10 magical artisans in the entire kingdom capable of creating magic crystals. She is even more amazed when Court completes the process in mere seconds, since even the youngest artisan would take at least an hour. Court explains that he doesn't have much mana to pour into the crystal, but the amount he used will be sufficient. That evening, Ulysses carries a bag of crystals, and Court tells her that he will stay behind as there are things he still wants to do. She bids him farewell and thanks him before leaving to sell the crystals, saying they will meet again in the morning. When Ulysses arrives to sell the crystals, a guard asks for the necessary documents for crystals coming from outside the city. She explains that they were produced locally, and that she doesn't have any documents. The guard then asks which workshop they came from. In response, she shows him a crest, signifying that she is an adventurer working directly under the royal family. The guard becomes frightened and quickly apologizes. She then requests to use his teleportation stone as she needs to travel to the royal capital. She then goes to the store where a young woman greets her. Ulysses hands her one of the crystals she brought. The shopkeeper examines it and says, "Its glow is quite weak. It might not be worth much, maybe around 10 silver coins." She then takes it inside for further inspection. Meanwhile, Ulysses thinks to herself, "Considering how it was made, I'm not surprised it won't sell for much." A moment later, the shopkeeper returns and says, "I can buy this from you for 10 gold coins. This magic crystal contains 10 times the usual amount of mana infused in it. Even though its glow is faint, it was specifically designed to prevent mana leakage." Ulysses is shocked. "I have 49 more of them," she exclaims. The shopkeeper immediately hands her a bag containing 500 gold coins. Ulysses can barely believe it. The shopkeeper then tells her, "Do not sell these magic crystals anywhere else but my shop. I doubt other stores would understand their true value, but tell me, who made these crystals?" Ulysses refuses to answer. The shopkeeper insists, "You must tell me. Someone with this level of skill should be serving the kingdom directly." Ulysses replies, "I just don't want to share information about him without his permission." After that, Ulysses heads to the employment office, where she approaches the same receptionist who had met Court earlier when he applied for a job. She asks her, "Who exactly is Court?" The receptionist responds, "All client information is confidential." At that moment, Ulysses pulls out her royal adventurer's emblem. Seeing this, the receptionist immediately retrieves Court's records and hands them to her. Ulysses reads through them and learns that Court was once a member of the Blazing Dragonfang. However, despite this, he holds only a G rank in all fields. He was also fired from his job repairing the castle walls after just 3 days. However, he was paid 200 gold coins because he managed to single-handedly repair the entire northwestern walls in that short time. Ulysses then says, "Deposit this amount, 499 gold coins, into Court's account. Also, as an adventurer working directly under the royal family, I hereby order you to keep all information regarding Court strictly confidential." She then heads back to the place where she and Court had been camping. But upon arrival, she is stunned to see a large, beautiful house standing there. Shocked, she asks, "What is this?" Court replies, "I built it while you were in town." Ulysses is left speechless. "You built this in a single night?" Court simply nods. "Everyone in my village could do the same. This isn't something special to just me." And with that, today's episode of this amazing anime comes to an end. Stay tuned for the next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Our episode begins with the Glowing Tooth team, where we see Hulanova, wounded and unable to defeat the giant monster. He calls out to Marlefis, the healer and doctor, who assures him she will take care of it. He then calls out to the beginner, who was supposed to be Kor, and asks him if he can use fire magic. The beginner responds saying, "What? I haven't trained here." Julanova, frustrated, tells him, "You're a fool, useless." The argument between them intensifies, but this is not the time for arguments, and perhaps this will be the end of their party. On the other hand, we see Kor with Washia, who tells him about a new job offer. They want him to be the director of the Royal Magical Technology Research Laboratory, and they would treat him like a noble. Kor couldn't believe it, and asked, "How is this possible?" Washia explained that the person she had asked to evaluate his magical crystals, whom he met while gathering crystals for her, works as a wizard in the royal court. Kor couldn't believe his ears. It was hard to imagine, but if true, it was an excellent offer. However, Kor didn't accept the offer. He thought to himself, "I can't imagine myself working in a position that puts me above others. I don't like arrogance. I also tend to want to return to the glowing dragon team." He then speaks to Washia and tells her that his current job is working here. He asks her about the price of the crystals she bought, and she tells him she sent him 80, which is decent. She took 1 gold coin as a fee for her services and deposited the rest into Kor's account. She thought to herself, "If I had accepted this huge amount, my conscience would have been troubled, as I don't like dishonest money." Afterward, she asks him to continue the excavation work, then looks into his eyes and says, "Kor, you didn't sleep well." He replies, "I'm fine. I slept 6 hours." Washia starts thinking about how he only slept 6 hours, even though he built that wooden house. She starts calculating, saying, 5 hours to cut the trees, 3 hours to prepare them, and 4 hours to assemble them. Her mind starts to whirl with thoughts because he did all of this and still had time. Then they headed out to the forest, specifically to the spot where Kor had found a promising excavation site. He pointed to the terrain and told Yulisha, "Judging by the mountain structure, there should be ore deposits under this area, but please don't dig deeper than 50 meters. As for me," he added, "I'm going to check out the spot where we found that huge crystal yesterday." And off he went. By the end of the day, Yulisha finally struck gold, or rather topaz. It could fetch around 3 gold coins on its own, but if Kor refined it into a crystal, it'd be worth way more. Excited, she packed up and went looking for Kor. Knowing that rascal, he probably dug an entire tunnel by now. And yep, she was right. She entered the tunnel and was shocked. The space he had carved out was massive. Eventually, Kor showed up. "I was just about to come looking for you," he said, "but I gotta be honest, I'm really sorry about the results. All I managed to dig up were useless rocks, just a few tiny fragments of the ore I'm after. The rest is just worthless junk." Yulisha blinked, stunned. "Worthless?" she repeated, staring at the rocks in his hand. This is mithril. It's rarer than gold." She was completely blown away. Mithril was incredibly valuable, and this idiot just called it trash. But Kor wasn't even fazed. He was still chasing something rarer, or a calcum. He finally found some 7 kilometers underground. Yulisha gasped. "You dug 7 kilometers underground in 8 hours?" he casually replied. "Yeah, it wasn't that hard." 2 days later, they returned to Samela City, and that enormous tunnel Kor had dug was officially converted into a trade route connecting Samela to Prince Tycoon's city. Apparently, Yulisha agreed to let the Wandering Merchants Guild use the tunnel, as long as they paid maintenance fees. And as she explained, "The profits from that will more than cover my taxes." At that moment, Bandana showed up. "Hey, long time no see," Kor greeted her. "What are you doing here? Is Jolanova with you?" Bandana shook her head. "Nope, I'm not with the Glowing Fang anymore. I left. A lot has happened." She started telling him the story. Apparently, Holanova was furious at a restaurant. He yelled, "I'm not eating this garbage," then stormed out without paying a single coin. Bandana had stood up to him and asked, "What's your problem?" Jolanova glared and asked about Kor's leftover food. "I already ate it," she told him. That's when he drew his sword and snarled, "Go get Kor, now. And if he resists, it doesn't matter, even if she has to hurt him a little." Bandana agrees to that, but she needs to borrow a teleportation crystal. While she's on her way, she overhears the city guards talking about looking for Yulnova. She pretends not to know him and continues walking, having already decided to leave everything behind. She says she was kicked out of the team. Later, while talking to Kor, she tells him she doesn't want him getting involved or being watched in the middle of this chaos too. Kor replies that he can't believe she got kicked out as well. He adds that it's impossible for him to return to the Blazing Dragon Fang ever again. Bandana realizes that since he's heading to Hallowork, he must be looking for a job. So she tells him that she actually knows someone who's struggling at their workshop due to a shortage of skilled workers. She suggests that Kor could go go and help out. The place only has 15 certified artisans authorized by the state, and one of them is currently in serious trouble. If Kor helps them, it'd be a big deal. Kor gets nervous. He feels like he wasn't much help during their last mission. But Bandana tells him he needs to believe in himself and give it his all in this job. Then she hands him a map to the workshop and asks him to take good care of himself. Kor leaves in a hurry. As he walks through the street, he remembers that the so-called artisan workshops are facilities that produce and sell medicine, enchanted swords, magical devices, and more. The head of the certified artisans is known as the master artisan and is granted special rights in terms of development and distribution. They're even treated with the same status as a viscount. But Kor had no idea there was an official artisan workshop in this city. Eventually, he arrives at the job location, but he's surprised to find it looks just like an ordinary house. He knocks on the door, and a small girl opens it. Kor is confused. She's way too young to be the master artisan. The girl introduces herself as Michelle, the assistant of the master artisan. Kor explains that he came to help based on Bandana's recommendation. Michelle is overjoyed that someone finally came to assist them. She leads him inside and takes him to the kitchen, where Kor is hit by a horrible smell. Michelle tells him she wants his help cleaning it. It's been 3 weeks since she was able to get to it. That's when Kor realizes he was brought in to help with house chores. He thinks maybe he was hoping for too much, expecting to be allowed to work in the actual workshop. At that moment, a lady called out to Michelle, asking for help. Michelle left, leaving Kor alone in the kitchen. Not one to stand idle, Kor rolled up his sleeves and cleaned the kitchen in under 30 minutes. Once done, he stepped out to look for Michelle, walking through the hallway until he came across a room. He knocked gently, then opened the door slightly to call out for her, only to find a girl in the middle of changing her clothes. Embarrassed, Kor quickly turned his gaze away. But the girl, unbothered, told him that Ophelia had gone down to the basement. As he began to step away, he noticed a large mark on the girl's lower back. Curious, he asked about it. She calmly told him it was a curse. Kor asked if he could take a closer look. The girl agreed. When he placed his hand over the mark, she didn't flinch, not even a little. In fact, she said she didn't feel any pain at all. That's when Kor realized the curse had eaten away at her body so much that her nerves were too damaged to register pain. Just then, her stomach growled. She was clearly hungry. Without hesitation, Kor decided to prepare something light for her to eat, heading back to the kitchen. The scene then shifts to Ulysses, who was asking Mimiko about the girl's value. Mimiko replied, 50,000 gold coins. Ulysses raised an eyebrow. That was too much. Even with both mithril and orichalcum involved, that seems exaggerated. I can't believe it's all real. If he's lucky, Mimiko replied, he'll be kidnapped, worst case, assassinated. But seriously, how did a guy like that stay hidden for this long? Ulysses responded, I heard he was kicked out of the Glowing Dragon Fang. Their leader is a wanted man now. I'm planning to make this wild boy an official artisan's instructor. That way we'll have a better chance at monitoring his actions, rather than letting him roam freely. She then added with a grin, and once that's done, I'll have him hire me as his personal bodyguard. But how do I get him to agree? He doesn't even realize the value of his abilities. Worse yet, he keeps underestimating himself. It's going to be tough. Back in the kitchen, Kor was busy cooking when Ophelia and Michelle entered. He immediately apologized for using her kitchen without permission, explaining that the girl in the back room was starving. Ophelia looked at him with a serious expression and said, Don't speak of that girl to anyone. Kor nodded. Understood. Is there anything else you need from me? Ophelia simply thanked him and asked him to come again at the same time tomorrow. Kor accepted and left. Once he was gone, Ophelia muttered to herself, I can't believe I let her speak with a stranger. Even if I did it to slow the curse down, I've become short-sighted. I need to stay focused. She walked to the girl's room and reminded her, You can't open the curtains. It would be dangerous if anyone saw you. She checked on her. The girl was clearly famished. Ophelia looked at her solemnly and said, You'll have to taste the poison before eating the food. The girl smiled faintly. That man made it. I can feel it in my gut. He's not dangerous, even though my body is torn apart by this curse, and I don't know who placed it on me. I've lived my life suspecting everyone. But today, she looked at Ophelia with gentle eyes. Today, I want to trust someone. She tastes the food, and she actually likes it. But suddenly, Liz's body weakens. She collapses to the floor. Ophelia, shocked. It was poisoned! After all, how could I be so careless? But then, out of nowhere, Liz stands up, on her own feet. The curse is gone. She's healed. The scene shifts. A girl walks in and asks about Mimiko. Ophelia apologizes for calling them so late, but she had something very important to discuss. Standing beside her is Princess Liz herself. She bows her head in apology. Liz, I wasn't sick. I was cursed. Deeply. Someone tried to assassinate me. She reveals the truth. She's the only child born from the union of His Majesty the King and Princess Francois, the woman he married from the Guru Mako Empire. Her very existence symbolizes the peace between their nations after the long war against the northern state. But now, a new conflict is brewing. Mimiko rushes over to check on Liz, and we see how much Liz truly relies on her. Liz, smiling softly. All of this, everything, it's thanks to a man named Kurt. And with that, this episode comes to an end. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, smash the bell icon, and stay tuned for more. See you next time in the world of mystery, magic, and fate. Today's episode begins with Ulysses sitting with Ophelia, who tells her that Kurt was able to cure Liz of all the curses she had. Ulysses is shocked, so stunned that it's like her head is about to explode from disbelief. Then, the guild officer steps in and says that regarding the person behind the assassination attempts on Liz, it has to be someone connected to a curse user and someone capable of bypassing the royal palace's anti-curse protections. That narrows it down to 3 suspects. 1. Sinova, the first general of the Royal Reconnaissance Forces. 2. Tristan, a cleric working in the Church of Bolaine. 3. Isadora, the king's 3rd wife. Ophelia is convinced it's Tristan since he can manipulate the magical protections around Liz's room. But Lee argues that her stepmother, the king's 3rd wife, also has free access to roam the palace and could have set up the whole plan. In the end, they agree that the only way to know for sure is to set a trap. Ophelia then says, Liz just turned 15 recently, and by tradition, she's now considered an adult. It's customary for her to leave the palace for 1 year of training. So here's what we'll do. We'll create a fake artisan's workshop, a place that doesn't exist, run by a fake master craftsman. We'll send Liz there to train, she continues. The culprit will definitely try to dig up information about this fake craftsman. The longer they search, the closer they'll get to the workshop. And that's when we'll be watching. We'll know exactly who's behind this. Then, Ulysses pulls out a high-quality magic crystal. Someone asks her who made such a valuable item. She replies, Kurt made it. Everyone is stunned again. At this rate, Kurt seems capable of doing just about everything. Cut to the next scene. Kurt is back at the place he visited last night where he cleaned the kitchen and healed Liz. There he runs into Michelle. She greets him warmly and says, I'm so sorry, the workshop is closed today. Madam left late last night. Kurt thanks her and leaves, but he's really hungry. So he heads to a nearby restaurant for lunch. While eating, he overhears a group of adventurers arguing. One of their team members, the one who usually carries the gear, isn't well. She needs complete rest. But some of them insist, we have to go out today. She's the one who carries our stuff. The team leader steps in and says, we can't. A doctor confirmed she needs at least a week to recover. But that means we'll have to cancel this last mission. We don't have time to find another porter. Hearing all this, Kurt jumps in. Hey, excuse me, are you looking for someone to carry your gear? If so, I'd be perfect. I don't have combat experience, but I can be a great porter. One of the girls scoffs at him and says, get lost, you bum. A nobody like you couldn't possibly do anything useful. And at that moment, the leader slapped her and scolded her for what she did, saying, you must show respect to others. Then he turned to Kor and apologized for what his sister had done, but admitted that she wasn't entirely wrong. Being a carrier for adventurers isn't an easy job, especially when we're heading out to hunt iron goblins that weigh over 200 kilograms. You'll need specialized skills to carry them. We're really sorry, but maybe you should look elsewhere. Kor replied confidently, I can handle 200 kilograms. I can lift both of you at once. Then he picked one of them up and tried lifting the leader. The leader stopped him, saying, wait, I'm wearing armor that weighs 150 kilograms. That means I weigh more than 200 kilograms. But Kor didn't hesitate. He lifted them anyway. Impressed, the leader agreed to take him along on the mission. Then the members introduced themselves. The guy in yellow was named Cans, and he said, I've got a sword, but honestly it's mostly for show. The samurai-looking man was Donzo, the leader of the squad. The girl was Sina, their shield bearer. Khan shook his hand and said, welcome to Team Sakura. We're happy to have you on board. Kor was thrilled. Kans explained, to be honest, we already have another carrier, but he's out for a week recovering. Kor thanked them sincerely for giving him a shot, and joined them on their way. But just then, a slime latched onto Kor's foot. Sena told him, it's just a slime, crush its core, it'll go down instantly. Kor pulled out his dagger and tried to stab it, but he fumbled and ended up stabbing himself instead. Sena stepped in and finished it off. Then she turned to him and said, don't worry, we know you're not a fighter, but you're incredibly strong. You're perfect for carrying the loot. Kor was stunned. They weren't angry at all, even though he failed to kill a slime. He remembered how things were back in the glowing Dragonfang Guild, where they used to beat him up mercilessly. Tears welled up in his eyes. These people were kind? They continued walking and entered a cave. Kant told Kor to watch his step, and the group began spreading glowing moss. When Sene laid it out, it lit up the area beautifully. In one corner, Kor noticed goblin droppings. They realized this was fresh, which meant goblins were still nearby. Khans reassured him, "Don't worry, we can handle a goblin or two easily." As they explored deeper into the Demus, a goblin appeared. Sena quickly took it down, but just before dying, the goblin cried out for backup. They all froze as a terrifyingly loud screech echoed from the shadows. It was then they realized they had just stumbled into a massive goblin colony. Sena panicked and turned to her brother. "What are we going to do? We don't stand a chance against all of them." Then we see Kurt standing a bit away from the group, near one of the dungeon walls. He tells them there's a secret passage here. He opens a hidden door, and both he and Senna go inside. Senna asks Kurt to help her find an exit, but it's pitch dark in there. They try to find a way out, but it's no use. Khans tells them it's impossible to escape from this many goblins while looking for an exit, so he should go ahead and distract them, but Kurt refuses. He wants to fight alongside them. Senna yells at him, saying he couldn't even beat a slime and he'll only slow them down if he stays. Khans steps in and tells them not to fight. They need to hurry and look out for each other. Then Khans turns to his friend Danzo and asks if he regrets anything. Danzo says he never did. Khans replies with the same question. Khans then answers, "Dying to protect my little sister is the greatest honor a big brother could ask for. A death without shame is a warrior's pride. How could we ever regret fighting to ensure our friends survive?" Kurt hears this and is deeply moved, though he knows there's nothing he can do to help them right now. Senna comforts him, saying she's sure her brother and Danzo will make it. Then she spreads the glowing moss, and suddenly, a giant monster appears. Cut to a new scene, with Ulicia and her friend Liz standing in front of the inn Kurt mentioned. Ulicia reminds Liz not to tell Kurt she's a princess. Liz assures her she won't. To Kurt, "I'm just a regular woman," she says. They enter Kurt's place, but don't find him there. Suddenly, they hear a voice, Bandana, calling out from afar, saying Kurt went to the caves northeast of here with a party of adventurers. Ulicia steps outside to see who spoke, but finds no one. They start suspecting this could be a trap. But it's also possible Kurt really went to those caves. They had recently done combat training in that area, and there's a high chance goblins fled there. Ulicia tells Liz she's going after Kurt and wants her to stay behind, but Liz insists on going. She's not about to leave the person she's supposed to protect. She's learned enough magic to defend herself and promises she won't get in the way. Ulicia makes her promise not to leave her side. Then they both head to the caves. Once there, they find the glowing moss and know Kurt's been here by the footprints. They follow the tracks until they disappear. Liz then uses her power to enhance her hearing, hoping it will help them find Kurt more easily. Liz says Kurt's scent continues in that direction. Then she enters the cave, and Yuli is surprised that Liz was able to clearly identify Kurt's scent. She should have had close contact and sniffed him first to know it that well. Liz tells her that someone is fighting inside. Yuli then uses her magic and asks Liz to stay behind and not come with her. Yuli goes in, attacks the monsters, and kills them. Meanwhile, we see Sina and Kurt facing a massive dragon. Sina looks extremely frightened, saying, "I should have backed out. I should have turned down this mission. At least no one would have died." She apologizes to Kurt for dragging him into this job and adds, "There's no way we can get past this. Iron Dragon goblins are here to prevent intruders from moving forward. If we try to pass, they'll definitely attack us. And after my brother and Danzo risked their lives to buy us time," Kurt reassures her, saying, "Don't worry, I'll take care of those goblins on the way." Then he charges at the dragon, slashing its tail with his sword. The dragon strikes back, but Kurt blocks the attack and counters, slashing its neck and finally killing it. Sina is amazed by what he did. Kurt tells her he's used to mining iron goblins. Later, Yuli arrives and asks Sina what happened. Sina replies, "Kurt shredded them all with a single dagger strike," and calls it mining. Yuli then speaks to Kurt and asks for his help, saying Khans and Danzo are fighting alone. She reassures him that they're alive, injured but not in danger. Yuli thinks to herself, "I've heard legends of a man with a G-rank talent in combat skills, but an S-rank talent in harvesting. Someone who used a sickle to defeat a wild briar dragon." Khans then talks to Yuli, saying, "You brought our other party member to the mission, but we had no idea there could be a swarm of goblins that escaped combat training. I don't know how to repay you." Yuli tells them there's something she wants to discuss before heading back. A workshop for artists and craftsmen is being established soon. "I'll be working there as the main adventurer." She asks Kurt to join her. "I heard you did an amazing job at Ophelia's place." Kurt tells her he'll be working with Sakura now, Then Khan says to him, "That's an unbelievable offer. Don't worry about us, you should take it." Yuli adds, "We're in desperate need of manpower since it's a new workshop. I was asked to recruit some adventurers. Would you all be interested in coming to work there?" Then Yuli asks Kurt that when he returns to the town, he must undergo a talent test to discover his abilities. After that, he will begin working at the workshop. The scene shifts to the palace, where Mimiko, the royal court sorceress, greets him, saying, "I've been appointed to assess your talents. I've heard that you came highly recommended by Ophelia. I've seen your magical crystal, but I wanted to see you in person." We then see the rest of the team celebrating because they've worked hard this time. After that, Mimiko speaks to Yuli, telling her she informed Kurt that he holds a B rank in cleaning, cooking, and mining, in addition to a G rank in everything else. Halo work is only capable of measuring talents between G and SS ranks, which means anything beyond that capability is SS rank. When his talents were assessed, they were all SS rank. "His latent magical power is far greater than mine," Yuli responds. "As I expected, but these results mean he's good enough to be appointed as a teacher at the secret artisan craftsman workshop. We're lucky I was the one who assessed his talents. If word of this spreads, who knows what might happen." Then Liz enters and says, "I'm absolutely stunned that all of Kurt's talents are SS rank. If anyone learns of this, it will be extremely dangerous." Then Liz yells at them, "I haven't heard anything about what you just said." Thus, today's episode ends. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell so you'll be updated with all the latest content. Our story begins today when Khan and Ulesha were riding in the car, where Kor was very happy because he loved the places and mountains. However, they would take a long time by cart because there were no transportation stones in the border town they were heading to. Originally, this place was a military base on the border of the land of demons. Although the new vice king had not appointed anyone yet, it remained a strategic town that still received help from the Alliance. Kor seemed worried, and Ulesha asked him, "What's wrong, Kor? You look sad." He told her that he had worked on repairing the walls around this town before, but he was kicked out after just 3 days. Finally, they arrive in the town, but it seems like they haven't made much progress since the last time he was here. "It must be that the labor force has decreased," Kor remarked. Then Ulesha speaks to them and says, "This place will be our home and workshop." Everyone was surprised and asked, "How can this place be ours? It's completely empty. What are we supposed to do here?" She told them that they would wait until the artist's workshop was completed, and then asked Kor, "Can you build the workshop by yourself?" Everyone was shocked and asked, "How can you do this alone?" He replied, "I can build a wooden house in a day, but building a large workshop in a day is impossible. However, I can do it in 3 days." He then wrote down the materials like cement, bricks, and sand that he would need, and gave it to her so she could bring them. Then Ulesha said, "Let's all leave this place so we don't hinder Kor's work." The scene shifts to when they reach the small hotel to rest. Here, Sina talks to them about the cave and Kor's extraordinary abilities. Kor had managed to defeat the boundary dragon demons by himself, saying he was used to mining iron demons and that he did it with just one knife. "Tell us, Ulesha, who exactly is Kor? He's driving me crazy. And tell us about yourselves," she asked. Ulesha introduces herself, saying she was an adventurer who served directly under the royal family. Then Liz introduces herself and shows them the emblem, saying she is the 3rd princess of the kingdom. Everyone stood up to salute her, clearly shocked. But she told them to sit down, as she hides her identity for specific reasons. "Please, treat me like Liz, as you always have," she added. As for Kor, he is not from the royal family, nor is he a noble. In fact, we don't know where he came from. He's from a very ordinary background, but what we know are his combat skills at rank G. However, all of his abilities, except for combat skills, are at the rank of SSS. That's all we know. Everyone is shocked and says, "SS, the legendary rank that people even doubt exists." However, Kor is completely oblivious to this fact and doesn't care whether he holds a rank or not. But we also told him that he's rank G, and we hid his real rank from him. To be honest, the new master craftsman here is Kor himself, but this too is a secret. Sina stands up and asks, "Why are you deceiving him like this? You could just tell him the truth." But Uliesh has a different opinion and says, even if we told him the truth, he might not believe us, and if an evil person learns about it, they might exploit his skills for forbidden purposes. Sina gets angry and says, "You two are the ones trying to exploit him." But Danzo, her brother, calms her down and says, "Calm down, beautiful." Liz then talks about how Kor is a good man, and he also broke the curse that was placed on my body, which seemed entirely natural. This curse was cast by someone who wanted to kill me. As for the reason we chose this border town to build the new artist workshop, it was to uncover our enemy and identify the mastermind behind it. But Kor doesn't know anything about this and had no idea who I am. However, when he learned I was cursed, he saved me without asking for anything in return. He is a pure-hearted person, always prioritizing others over himself. Then Liz asks them, not as a princess but as a friend, to keep this secret and protect them from any enemy attacks to safeguard Kor. Everyone thinks about this and then agrees, saying, yes, we will support you with our strength, because, in the end, he is our friend. And he is a good person. Danzo agrees too, but Sina, his sister, says, brother, it's only been 2 days since we met this boy. We're only taking him for his ability to carry meaning. We don't know anything about him. How can you so easily agree to protect him? Euleshia calms her down and understands her feelings. Sina then leaves the room, thinking, I don't know him well. Kor should know the truth too. Later, Sina enters the place where the construction was supposed to begin, and is shocked to see that Kor has already completed half of the work. He says, what's wrong, Sina? I haven't finished the artist's workshop yet. She asks, did you dig all of this? He replies, yes, I'm rank B in mining. Sina thinks to herself, even people of rank B can't do this, and then says aloud, you're amazing, Kor. He apologizes, saying, sorry for being slow. She is surprised and says, someone else might take more than 10 days to build this, but you did all of this in just 3 hours. She then asks him, don't you feel bad about being tasked with this work? He replies, no. No one forces me to do this at all. In fact, this makes me very happy. I love my work. In my last party, they called me useless and even kicked me out. But now, I am very happy because someone like me can prove that I am useful to someone. Sina remembers Euleshia's words about Kor being a good and pure-hearted person, which is why she wants to protect him. Then she leaves, feeling very happy. The scene shifts to Danzo, who is sitting. It seems that the girl behind him is talking to him about the details of something, but their conversation is very secretive. She tells him, I have uncovered most of the details. Pepe Noki, also known as the Man with 1,000 Faces, accepts missions from the villains and then sneaks into adventurer parties. He's a real scoundrel and has already destroyed countless parties, she continues. He accepted this last mission with the intention of crushing Sakura. It seems a rival party, full of resentment because you took their recent job, sent him. The details are in the paper with you. He thanks her, and the session ends. He gives her money in return. The scene transitions to where Pepinoki, the womanizer, is revealed. He is shocked to see Danzo and tries to run away quickly. However, he falls into Danzo's trap and lands on the ground. Danzo approaches him and says, wait, forgive me. Danzo pulls out his sword and swings it toward his neck, but he doesn't kill him. It's a clear threat. Danzo says, you came too close to those I trust now. They're my friends. I will kill you without hesitation. He then leaves. The scene shifts to Kor, who has finally finished the workshop. Danzo and his friends are observing the place and say, maybe we're dreaming. This can't be real. They are incredibly surprised and shocked by how fast Kor worked. Just 3 days ago, there was nothing here. Then they meet Kor, who leads them inside and explains the systems of the place. There are 2 lower floors, and as for the water, he created a network to purify it. Regarding those massive tanks, he managed to turn the blue sapphires he brought into magical crystals and use them to create a perpetual motion engine that generates water. He also made magical crystals from quartz and used them for lighting. The magical energy is stored in the gemstones, so they should stay lit for more than a year, even if left on continuously. These are the rooms assigned to all of you for sleeping, he says. Everyone is amazed because he did everything by himself. He even used griffin feathers to make feathered blankets. As for the other large room, it is the reception area and the craftsman's master's office. Then Kor asks Euleshia, when can we meet the craftsman? I want to see him. Kor had no idea about what they had agreed upon earlier. Euleshia gets tense and says, it seems he's very busy, so he's a little late. But tell me, where's your room, Kor? He replies, I'm only responsible for the household chores. If you think I'll sleep in the small resting area next to the kitchen, everyone is shocked and they all say in unison, you can't do that. You're just like us. They try to convince him to sleep in one of the rooms until the craftsman arrives. Kor finally agrees. Okay, I'll do that, but I'll leave as soon as my master arrives. Euleshia then says, you know, my friends, it took more than 2 hours to convince Kor to sleep here in the reception room. She then asks Kor if he is able to put up a barrier or curse protection around the mansion. He tells her that will be a bit difficult. Euleshia then decides to create a protective wall using the materials Mimiko had given them. Now, the only thing left is the main goal, Liz's room, which she also works on. But Liz suddenly appears and gets angry with Euleshia because she did it without telling her. The next morning, we see Kor preparing food. Once he finishes, everyone is surprised that he has cooked something delicious. When they ask about Kor, Liz tells them he's cleaning. Euleshia then rushes to catch up with him before he wipes away the things she did, but she arrives too late. Kor had already wiped them all clean. Now the question is, can Euleshia protect Liz from those who want to kill her? That's what we'll find out in the next episode. Stay tuned. The episode starts today with Marlevy, who is being spoken to by the bishop, Tristan. He tells her that she is fired from her position. Marlevy is shocked and asks, "Why did you fire me?" He replies that the party she belongs to, the Blazing Dragon's Fang, not only caused numerous failures and violence towards others, but also that its leader is now wanted for justice. She tells him that it was not her fault. "It may be true that I cast lightning magic in a restaurant in the royal capital, but that was a punishment for a place that served us food worse than pig slop." Bishop Tristan gets angry and says, "Enough of your nonsense, you fool. The bad reputation you brought will become a stain on the church's reputation." He continues, "But we also acknowledge your magical abilities. There is a condition, though. If you are capable of performing a simple task for us, we will forgive your petty mistakes and grant you the title of priestess." Marlevis gets excited at this, and then he gives her a wine to drink, and she happily consumes it. She then says, "Whatever you want, I will do it, of course." Then he gives her an unusual task, to help them assassinate the third princess of Xylet. Marilis is shocked and reacts with great surprise, causing the cup to fall from her hands. This, however, is not because of the surprise, but because the bishop has likely placed a curse in the wine. A powerful curse that starts spreading through her body. This curse will make her unable to accept anything, only water, and she will likely die from starvation in 1 month. He tells her, "If you succeed in your mission, I will free you from your suffering, you foolish idiot." Marlevis thinks, "All right, I will offer my life to you, bishop. But maybe this is not the bishop as everyone believes. I strongly suspect that this person is the Demon King, but he has taken the form of someone else in order to carry out such wicked actions." The scene then shifts to Kor and the others who are preparing food. The strange thing is that Liz's body has not changed at all after Kor removed the anti-E curses that were placed on her. Maybe their enemies haven't discovered Liz's location yet, or maybe there is another reason preventing them from reaching her, thought Ulishia. Liz speaks to Kor and says, "Kor, this food is new and delicious. I've never eaten anything like it before in my life. Things are very dangerous." But Mimiko arrives just in time in the city and sets up her network. If their enemies try anything, they will know immediately. Meanwhile, Liz is still thinking about the food and says, "Your cake is also beautiful. As for the rice you made, it's like minced meat. I feel like I've never eaten anything like this before. It's like I'm in heaven. So please, make some more of it if I fall under a curse again." He said to her, "All right, I am with you all the way, Liz, the third princess, but you won't fall under the influence of curses again." Ulishia is surprised and asks him, "How can you say that with such certainty?" He responds, and then the scene quickly shifts to a secret group where someone tells another person, "Failure will not be tolerated anymore." The other replies, "It took a long time to prepare, but this time I will cast a death curse on that third princess, and it will be a decisive curse." We return to Kor, who says to them, "I told you I can't create a curse barrier inside the palace, because the entire palace from the outside acts as a barrier that reflects curses." At that moment, we see a person who is very surprised. These are the people who want to kill the third princess, and they say, "What is this? The curse disappeared. What's going on exactly? I don't understand anything, and I know from Kor that he did this." When someone tries to cast a curse, the person will glow, and the curse is reflected back onto them. The scene shifts to the evening, where the fog thickens. We see General Red and Generic watching the city from the fortress, but they both have an uneasy feeling due to the thick fog. It could mean there are monsters, though the repairs to the walls should have been completed by now. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Ulishia and her companions. They have reached those people who are casting curses and believe that Kor created a very strong curse reflection. They think Kor has fully joined them, meaning he could do anything, but Ulishia doesn't want to involve him in any greater danger. He is a kind-hearted person. At this moment, Mimiko speaks and says, "I'll finish the investigation myself later, so please make sure to inform Liz not to leave the workshop. Of course, I'll have Phantom guard the workshop." At that moment, the city's alarm bells ring everywhere. It seems there's great danger. Yes, my friends, it's a monster attack. Skeletons everywhere, but the army is on high alert. I wonder what will happen next. Then we see a massive monster attack heading toward the city, possibly hunting for Liz. The general is seen with his deputy and the guards. He tells them that he and the first squad will defend the place to the death. The deputy asks him to fight with them, saying they can only charge directly at them. If they focus on this area, they can defeat them. The general scolds him for wanting to leave him there, saying that they can't let another enemy attack the town, and he must go protect the people. After that, we see a huge crowd of skeletons being pulled toward the western wall, then disappearing. Ulisha recalls a conversation she had with her friend, where she mentioned that both the northern and western walls had been repaired by herself. The general and his deputy continue to think about what to do, as the general is very worried about Kor and his sister. Then we see Marlevis in the church after falling into the trap of the priest. The devil tells her, "You failed the first time, but as for the second and third waves, they will use your magical power to summon them." Marlevis realizes that the priest made a deal with a powerful demon, and the demon tells her that he will use her soul as fuel, and that should be enough to make up for the difference. The next morning, Ulicia arrives at the location where Kor and Liz are. She informs them that the city is surrounded by monsters from all sides, and even if they request reinforcements, the flying monsters are entering so they cannot help. Liz responds with concern about everyone in Sakura, as they are still missing after leaving to hunt the troll. Ulicia then thinks about the information they received from Phantom, where the monsters are coming from the ruins of Lapita to the west, and it seems that the knights are working on a strategy, but they cannot move without being extremely cautious against such enemies. Liz mentions that she heard about the skeleton attack last night, and Ulicia confirms that she is right. When the skeletons touched the walls, it was as if they were purified. Ulicia also heard that the knights were surprised by this, and Kor adds that it is a common practice in his village. Liz is surprised because this means Kor can make weapons to defeat all the undead instantly. Ulicia then recalls that Kor is the one who set up the walls, but warns that if they target walls that don't have a purification effect, it could be dangerous. Ulicia then speaks to Kor and Liz, asking them not to leave the workshop no matter what happens. She will go to clean up the debris in the west. Kor offers to go with her, but she refuses, as it's dangerous with so many monsters outside the walls. She insists that they leave it to her. She then bends down to Kor and asks him to listen carefully, as they still have that plan to worry about, and he must stay with Liz. Kor agrees to stay with her. We then see the general and his deputy gathered with all the soldiers, ready for battle. A large crowd of skeletons stands behind the walls. At this time, Ulicia arrives, and the general welcomes her, saying he hasn't seen her for a long time. He heard that she joined the workshop in this town. He asks her about the two girls with her, and she tells him that one is Mimiko, the third royal court sorceress, and the other is Ophelia, a master artisan instructor. Ulicia then mentions that Princess Liz is in this city, so the general decides to assign soldiers to guard the princess. Mimiko informs him that her intelligence unit is protecting her highness, but Ulicia interrupts, saying she has a plan. She asks the general and his men to act as bait and draw the monster's attention. During that time, she will head to the ruins in the west and cut off the source of the monster's generation. The general warns her that it's very dangerous for her, but Mimiko reassures him that they have a powerful secret weapon. It's a very powerful weapon. When the general sees it, he notices that it's just an ordinary crystal, but Ophelia assures him of its effectiveness. The general then agrees, but asks for one thing in return: allow me to join you in storming the ruins. The deputy general will lead the bait team and distract the monster hordes, while I, along with Ulicia, will strike the enemy's main camp. Gennari responds, "This is very dangerous. We should be the ones to join the attack." The general replies, "Acting as bait is a very important and dangerous mission as well. If you don't do it, who will lead it?" He then asks Mimiko and Ophelia to help, and Mimiko agrees, "Yes, we will protect this city." The general then gives the order, "Start the operation. All units, move to their positions." He speaks to his deputy. "It seems you're not satisfied, but I won't change my strategy." The deputy, looking sad, responds, "You're always like this. We won't say goodbye. We'll survive and return home together." Meanwhile, Kor is talking to himself. "The old man in my hometown always used to say that striking the heart of the iron paths gives you a chance to reflect on yourself. The blade of Danzo had an incredible edge. I wonder if I can make a smaller version of it. But what can I do? I was fired not long ago, and even though they called me their friend, I wasn't useful in combat." Outside the palace, a large number of monsters are seen. Ulicia casts something at them and they disappear. Everyone is astonished. The general says, "This is unbelievable." He then asks, "Is this the workshop's secret weapon?" The scene shifts to Mimiko explaining to Ophelia, "It's a magical crystal of light capable of purging demons and the undead instantly." Ulicia says, "Let's move while we still have our chance." The deputy general responds, "We'll distract the enemy," and he leaves with some of the soldiers, while the general and Ulicia head out from the other side. Next, we see Kor crafting the sword, thinking to himself, "My suspicions are correct, but this is a failure. I allowed my skills in blacksmithing to be at rank B, but this is a rank C task." Liz enters and tells him the food is ready. She asks if he made the sword and requests to see it. Kor replies, "Yes, but I'm still mentally working on it. When I imbue it with magic, if you raise the enchanted blade above your head, it will activate a spell, so be very careful with it." Liz is amazed by the sword. Kor tells her, "If you like it, you can keep it." Liz is overjoyed and thanks him. After that, Kor asks her, "Is someone chasing you?" She answers, "If I realized that, I would feel so guilty. You and Ulicia are facing troubles because of me. Until now, Oni-Chans and the others risk their lives to reach the ruins in the west, and in that place, there's someone who wants to kill me. Kor thinks to himself, Oni-Chans mentioned going there to clean up. That reminds me of a long time ago. It's the perfect place for people who like to carve things into the walls. The person chasing Liz is the mastermind. That means Oni-Chans went to defeat the mastermind. Kor feels sorrowful, thinking, she's unable to fight. I can't protect you. I can't protect someone I care about. Liz is very happy when she hears that. Kor tells her that everyone is precious to him, and that he can't believe that all he can do is sit here and wait. Liz tells him that she feels the same way. If it were possible, I would prefer to capture the culprit myself. Kor thinks to himself, she's not suffering from this feeling of helplessness like I am. None of us can endure this anymore. He asks Liz if they can go together, but she says the city is surrounded by monsters from all directions. Kor responds, if those 8 directions fail, we'll take the 9th. Let's go clean up those ruins in the west. The scene shifts to the general and Oni-Chans. She tells him that she has a feeling something bad is about to happen. The episode ends with a cliffhanger, and the announcer says, that's it for today's episode of the anime. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get all the latest updates. We open today's episode on Princess Liza playing with her small sword, when suddenly a strange, unsettling figure appears and startles her. Meanwhile, Oni-Chans is battling wave after wave of monsters. There are so many of them, and the real problem is that they still haven't figured out where the creatures are coming from. We have to find their exit point, fast. At that moment, Reed is wounded. When Oni-Chans rushes to help him, more monsters attack her. But just in time, Kanze the adventurer tells them she's traced the source. The monsters are pouring out of that abandoned upper wing of the building. They must be inside or emerging directly from underground. They decide to head there. Reed downs his power drink, a herbal strength elixir, to push past his deep wound. Suddenly, an army of monsters and skeleton warriors bursts forth, and they engage in direct combat. Meanwhile, Reed and Oni-Chans split off. They want to pinpoint the source with maximum precision. Elsewhere, the devilish demon lord Iblis is torturing that young woman, drawing on her life force. He suddenly notices the fighters battling skeletons, and sees Reed and Oni-Chans searching every corner. Deciding to greet them personally, he appears before them. He's the one who's been summoning these monsters. Oni-Chans doesn't hesitate. She rushes him and slams a magic crystal into him, but it has no effect. Reed strikes too, but the Demon King easily shrugs off their attacks and his wounds instantly heal. The heroes stand there, stunned. What can we do? How can we defeat this monstrous fiend? Iblis laughs a cruel, mocking laugh. You can't defeat me, he says. I suppose you'd like to see your friends fall before you? He conjures a magical screen that shows Generic, his face battered, bandaged, blood streaming down his cheek. Then Iblis summons yet more monsters. Reed flies into a rage and delivers a mighty blow that severs the demon's head from his body. But with effortless ease, Iblis picks up his own head and reattaches it. Now the heroes are left with terrifying questions. We've cut off his head. We've ripped out his heart. He's still alive. Even the core crystals had no power against him. How do we ever hope to defeat him? We cut back to the Demon King, laughing as he watches the walls of the city crumble. Yes, yes. See that fear on your faces? That look of despair? Wonderful. Give up everything? Despair? Elsewhere, we find the young sorceress the Demon King used as bait. She's exhausted, on the verge of collapse. I can't stop that magic circle, she murmurs. This is the end. Suddenly, she hears Kor's voice. Maybe you've lost your mind, but this is real. Kor steps out from the shadows. He and his friends have finally broken into the fortress. He finds Marvels, the sorceress who'd been with him in the outlaw band, and says, "What are you doing here?" Princess Liza demands. "How do you know her?" Kor tells her, "She was in the same party they kicked us out of." Liza asks Marvelvis how she got here. Marvelvis answers, "It was the bishop Tristan's doing," then realizes he was actually the Demon King in disguise. Kor asks after Oni-Chans. Marvelvis replies, she's on the upper floor. Liza insists on going to find her alone. Kor protests. It's too dangerous. She smiles. "I'll be fine. I have that powerful sword you gave me." Kor warns her to be careful, then watches her go. Marvelvis mutters to herself, is he an idiot? Letting the princess go off alone when everyone wants her dead? Upstairs, Oni-Chans stands before the Demon King. He snarls, "You can't break any more crystals. I'll finish you now." Suddenly, Liza bursts in. The Demon King lunges and strikes her down. Everyone gasps. He laughs. "What a foolish princess. If you'd stayed hidden in the town, you might have lived a little longer." Then Liza's body fades and reappears fully alive. "You fool!" she shouts. "The death blow never touched her. She wields the sword of deception, forged by the greatest smiths. No one can harm its bearer." Ulysses stares in awe. Kor made a magic sword. With a single swing, Liza shatters the final dark crystal. The Demon King screams. Kor hears the cry and dares to hope she's truly beaten him. As the last monsters vanish from the city, along with the summoner himself, the threat is over. Ulysses rushes to Liza. "Why did you come? I told you to stay in the workshop." Liza replies, "I had to do everything I could. I couldn't hide while everyone was in danger." Ulysses' eyes fill with tears. "I thought you were dead." Liza embraces her. "No apology needed. You saved us all. We all owe you our lives." As for Liz, she wants to know everything and make sure they weren't injured. She realizes the severity of the battle and says, "I'm the one who should thank you both. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for protecting me and protecting this city. I'll make sure to prepare a big reward for you." Raid tells her that it's their duty, and when the homeland calls, they must answer. They would sacrifice their lives and blood for it. Meanwhile, we hear the rumbling of Marlevy's stomach. She's extremely hungry and says, "I might die now from hunger, and the curse in my stomach is killing me." Then Kor offers her a ready-made meal. She thinks to herself, "Maybe I'll die after eating this because of the curse in my belly," but still decides to eat it. She finds it very delicious and is surprised that she doesn't feel the urge to vomit. Even the curse in her stomach disappears. She remembers Kor when he was with them and says, "I can't believe it. Was that Kor's true power? We were protected from curses all this time because of him?" Then she starts crying heavily, regretting how they had expelled and mistreated him. She apologizes, saying, "I'm so sorry, Kor, for everything I did before." Kor tells her he's happy she learned an important lesson. At that moment, Ulysses and Lise arrive. But also the two guards come and take Marlevis to prison so she can receive her punishment. After making sure everyone is okay, Ulysses says, "Come on, let's go home." Lise says, "Let's go to our lovely workshop." Kor is very happy because he finally has a place to go, friends who protect and defend him, and people who love him, many of whom he may meet in the future. He is truly happy from the bottom of his heart. In the evening, everyone is eating and drinking from the abundant food at the banquet, which is for all the border knights. Kor is surprised by how fast they're devouring the food, as if it's a drink. He wonders if the food tastes bad, but they tell him it's actually really good, and that they're just focused on eating because of its high quality. At that moment, Liz introduces him to the man Raid, who is the commander of the knights in that area, and the general in charge of the city. Then, the white-hailed man appears and says, "Don't be fooled, Kor. He's terrible at managing. He can't even manage his own house." Raid nudges him to shut up. After that, fireworks explode everywhere. Fireworks made by Kor, and everyone is happy. Meanwhile, we see Margrave Tycoon restraining that girl. What's really going on? You have to keep watching and subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss the next episode. Our episode begins with Kor as a child. Perhaps he's remembering his childhood. He meets a girl and asks her, "Are you the daughter of the traveling merchant?" But she doesn't respond. He tries again. "Are you looking for something? Do you need anything? What beautiful horns you have. The weather is lovely today." Despite all his words, she says nothing. Kor feels sad. But finally, the girl speaks and says, "My father told me not to talk to the people of Hast village. He said the villagers are a bit strange and he doesn't want me to be influenced by any of their odd ways. So I only talk to myself." Kor tells her he's not like them. Then he introduces himself, and the girl does too. Her name is Hildgard. They walk together through the great forest. But then a major surprise happens. Hildgard eats a fruit and suddenly collapses. Perhaps it was the deadly parble berry. Kor is terrified and decides to make her a medicinal herb, which he then gives to her. At that moment, Kor wakes up from his sleep. It turns out he had dreamed about his childhood and remembered everything. That happened with Hildgard. Finally, they arrive at the village where their mission is. But things are not going well. There's a severe water shortage. As a result, flowers, herbs, and vegetables are withering, and all the crops in the region will die if this continues. The village official tells them that there's a large water reservoir in the neighboring village, and there are also water channels connecting the two villages. Lucia asks, "Then why don't you ask them to share some of their water?" He replies, "We've tried negotiating many times, but they won't listen to us. That's why we thought of asking for your help. You and your guild have a strong reputation." Lucia understands the situation. She goes to the team leader and asks, "Where is the team? Where are they now?" He tells her, "They're on the hill. The old man in charge of the birds is having back pain, so they're helping him take care of them while you're discussing the situation." She says, All right, I'll go to the neighboring village to negotiate. There she meets a woman who is crying deeply. The woman begs her, please, please do something. Save our country or we will die of hunger. It'll be an age of famine. Do something. Lucia comforts her and says, don't worry, mother. Things will be resolved, God willing. But we must pray that rain falls upon us. At that moment, some people arrive and say, there is very bad news from the hill. Lucia rushes there on her fast horse and finds that Sina and Cons are at the lake where the pond once was. They were claiming they were suffering from water shortage. Can says, you weren't here just moments ago. Then Kor arrives. Lucia welcomes him and says, I heard you were here helping with the birds. He replies, yes, the water birds were thirsty, so I drew some water from the groundwater layer. And here, dear friends, we learned that it was Kor who drew the water and brought it to the pond. The people were astonished and said to Lucia, we can't believe, Lucia, that you solved our problem in such a strange way. Kor didn't understand any of it. Even though he was doing things that seemed like miracles, he paid them no mind. Afterward, they all moved on, and the villagers gave them many gifts: sugar, generosity, a variety of eggs, an omelet, and some pies that could be made from those beautiful eggs. On the other side, we see Liz with Prince Tychon as she presents a report about the monster attack. That happened a few days ago. They are now sitting at the dining table, and the food is probably very good. Liz tells him that she's not here as the third princess, but as a representative of the artisan's master. She knows that Margrave Tychon holds power equivalent to that of a duke, but in truth, he is financially dependent on others. He has ties with the royal family and the Goraku Empire, so he is trying to win Liz's favor to strengthen his own position. But Liz can see his cunning intentions. He is a very sly fox. He speaks to her and says, I've heard some stories that they used magical stones capable of eliminating monsters within a 500-meter radius. When he said that, Liz knew that he was trying to extract information about the artisan master. He was gathering information in a clever way. Liz told him, those are just rumors. Surely no such powerful stones existed. Then she says to herself, I won't let Kor become a prey to that fool. Then he continues and says, Princess, were you aware that the town you're currently in has no name? She replies, yes. It's customary for the deputy to name the town after being appointed, so it hasn't been named yet. He tells her he's having great difficulty choosing a deputy so far. That's why I want to appoint this artisan master you all speak of as the deputy of the town. Liz is shocked. She thinks to herself, so this is his real game. Once appointed, the master will have to reveal himself publicly. But since he doesn't know who the artisan master is, it means nothing. Liz then says to him, forgive me, but I cannot make such a decision alone. He replies, but you represent the artisan master here, so you should have been entrusted with full authority to arrange any agreements between us, not to mention the fact that the artisan master saved the lives of many knights in the recent battle. The princess couldn't say a word. At that moment, General Raid steps in and says, Your Highness, our knights would be honored to have the artisan master as our deputy. Liz becomes visibly upset, and her face shows signs of disbelief. The side prince then says to her, Princess, are you suggesting there's a personal flaw or something else that makes the artisan master unsuitable for the deputy role? I'm not understanding this hesitation. And so, an agreement is made, whether by force or by words, because she had no excuse left to give. On the other hand, Liz meets with Ulysses and says to her, Forgive me, I couldn't find an excuse. Maybe the solution now is to find someone to pretend to be the artisan master. Ulysses replies, perhaps we could do that. But where is Kor? Ulysses tells her one of the eggs is about to hatch, so he's taking care of it and warming it until it hatches. Meanwhile, we see the official and the other girl sitting together. The girl says, I heard they found Bishop Kristen dead in the church. Perhaps he was assassinated. The official responds, so you turned the Bolan church into a scapegoat? What did you do with Kor's former ally? Did you kill her? Hildegard answers, I didn't kill her. Kor behaved as if he wanted to visit her. The report says that Kor is going to become the deputy of the frontier town. Then we go to Kor, who is with a little girl. Ulysses and Liz are both shocked. Kor tells them, the waterfowl egg that was about to hatch and this girl came out of that egg. Ulysses says, she made herself look like you as a way to lower your guard and gain the affection of the one who helped her hatch. Kor asks, are you suggesting she might kill us all? That she's a monster? Ulysses replies, hand her over to me. If she does anything, I'll kill her. She takes the girl from Kor by force. Kor says, I can't believe this girl could be an evil monster. I'll take responsibility for her. Let me raise her. Ulysses thinks the girl is a monster, but then the girl places her small hands on Ulysses. Ulysses imagines herself as the girl's mother. Then Can says, we'll take care of her in Sakura. We'll raise her to be a good girl. She won't turn out bad if we raise her properly. Ulysses says to them, I can't say no anymore. Kor thanks her. Then they choose a name for the little girl. Kor suggests the name Akuri. Liz replies, Akuri means edge in the language of the Lapland hopeless civilization. Kor responds, yes, that's one of its meanings, but it also means zone or region. I thought it could mean the line that connects the 3 points that represent us. Ulysses says, I understand now. This girl might be what connects us. The girl is happy with her name, and everyone rejoices for her. At night, the girl comes and hands Ulysses an envelope saying, this contains Akuri's hair and saliva. Please pass it on to Mimiko. We hope to learn more about what this girl truly is. The next day, we see Akuri playing with everyone around her. Kor says, I've finished building a cute kid's room in just one night. Ulysses thinks to herself, it's also a prison for Akuri, without windows and surrounded by mithril boards on all sides, so it can't be opened from the inside. It might be harsh, but at least until I get a response from Mimiko, I can't. Take Akuri out of this room. Liz and Akuri are not allowed to make contact. Then Ulysses and Kor go to finish their work. They hear a sound coming from inside the carriage. When they step out, they are surprised to find it's Akuri. She says, I jumped out. Kor replies, there's a gap for sneaking out in the room. We need to go back to the workshop now, because everyone is worried about you. Later, this girl appears, and Ulysses says, it's likely he'll stop at the frontier town, so I'll ask him to take a message to the workshop. Kor thinks to himself, Ulysses' observation is incredible. She can identify people heading to the frontier town with just one glance. She says, we can't push her away because she's been thinking of all of us. However, I'm causing trouble for everyone with my selfishness. If it turns out this girl is a monster, I won't be able to do anything. Ulysses responds, we weren't wrong about her. No one knows how things will turn out in the end, but we must do our best to make it end well. Suddenly, this old man appears, saying, I'm glad to see you both. You, hero, must defeat the Demon King and save the world. Kor replies, I'll do my best. This is how today's episode of the anime ends. Stay tuned for the next episodes. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get all the latest updates. Our episode today begins with Kurt, who encounters an old man that suddenly appears before them. The old man says with a warm smile, I'm so glad you came, brave traveler and his loyal servant. Ulysses stares at him, completely baffled. Then, the old man turns to Kurt and says, you must defeat the Demon King and save this world. Kurt replies, all right, sir, I'll do my very best. But Ulysses, completely thrown off, looks at him and says, wait, hold on, Kurt, do you even know who this guy is? Just then, the old man's daughter rushes in and apologizes. I'm so sorry. My dad tends to say weird stuff. He might have gotten a bit senile lately. He's always wanted to be one of those crazy old sages who say ominous things. And here's where I, your narrator, have to say something important, friends. What she said about her father, even if he's losing it a little, isn't exactly respectful. Remember, just because something happens in anime doesn't mean we should copy it in real life. We're here to laugh and enjoy the story, not to learn. Life lessons from characters who clearly need a nap. Anyway, she welcomes them and asks, so, are you here from the artisan workshop? They reply, yes, we are. She smiles and says, I didn't expect a newlywed couple to visit us. Along with your beautiful daughter. Kurt and Ulysses freeze. Ulysses' face goes bright red like a tomato. Kurt nervously asks, so, what kind of work do you need from us, miss? She responds honestly. All right, I'll be straight with you. Look at those pigs in the pen. They haven't been eating much lately. Kurt observes and replies, yeah, the weather's been super hot lately. They're probably suffering from heat exhaustion. I'll prepare a special feed to help them recover. She thanks him warmly. Thank you so much. My father and I are going on a little outing, so I'll leave the pigs in your care for now. I'll be back later. After she leaves, Kurt turns to Ulysses. Her face is still red, and she's totally frozen. She's thinking to herself, me, Kurt's wife? She's so shocked by the misunderstanding, she can't even move. Meanwhile, Kurt gets to work preparing the special feed. Suddenly, a massive blue dragon appears from the sky. Ulysses panics. She draws her sword and rushes. Forward! Kurt shouts. Wait! Calm down! Put your sword away! The dragon sniffs the feed and starts eating. Kurt explains, in this region, it's totally normal for dragons to show up looking for a bite to eat when you prepare livestock feed, but Ulysses senses something off. She smells blood. She starts searching around, and then she finds him. Phantom, the ghostly guardian who protects Kurt, is lying on the ground, unconscious. Ulysses immediately jumps into a fierce battle. Kurt rushes over and asks, what's going on? She yells, get out of here! Take Akuri and run! Just then, a mysterious girl appears. She glares at Kurt and says, hand over the girl, or I'll cut off your head. Kurt stares at her and asks, who are you? Are you her mother? Or are you a dragon too? What are you? But the girl doesn't answer. Ulysses turns to Kurt and screams, go, now! At that moment, the blue dragon grabs Kurt by his collar and takes off into the sky at full speed, leaving the battlefield behind. Then comes Ulysses, stepping into this epic battle. That woman was incredibly strong. She struck Ulysses hard, knocking her to the ground. As the strange woman approached to land a finishing blow, Ulysses, being clever, pushed a nearby farming machine toward her and smashed it into her. Then, Ulysses jumped back, but the woman retaliated quickly. knocking Julicia's sword away and slashing her with a deep wound. Julicia cried out in pain, and the mysterious woman moved in for the kill. But at the last moment, Julicia shattered one of Kurt's magical crystals and struck the woman with it, causing a massive explosion that destroyed everything around them. Yet she didn't die. No, she emerged from the debris completely unscathed. Not only that, now she had grown strange horns. Could she be the Demon Queen herself? Let us know in the comments. Who do you think this woman is? Julicia quickly realized the truth. This woman was a demon with magical power and physical strength beyond human. She knew demons were the enemies of mankind, but what she didn't know was why a demon would appear in this place. So many questions remain. Was she after Kurt, or was it Akuri she wanted? Just then, Kurt reappeared, riding that dragon again. Julicia was shocked. She yelled at him, "Why did you come back now? Are you planning to fight that insane woman?" He fell off the dragon and landed with a thud. "You idiot," she snapped. "Why did you come here? You could die." But he answered, "I can't run away and leave you alone. If I die, then it was God's will, but I won't abandon you." Suddenly, a thunderous rumble shook the ground. They turned around. Furious wild boars were charging at them at full speed. They quickly mounted one, and Julicia asked him, "Where's Akuri? Is she safe?" "She's waiting for us in a secure place," he replied. But amidst all the chaos and tension, Julicia's mind was somewhere else entirely. Maybe, just maybe, my friends, she had fallen in love with Kurt, but she couldn't bring herself to confess. And then, boom! A massive explosion! That cursed demon woman, the great horned devil herself, unleashed her blazing flames. Julicia drew her dagger and shouted, "Stay here, don't move no matter what happens." She charged toward the demon and threw a firebomb at her, but the demon retaliated with flames. Julicia slashed through the fire with her dagger, cutting it open. Then, like lightning, Akuri appeared from nowhere. She jumped on top of Julicia and defended her. The demon was completely stunned. How could such a small girl pull off something like that? But my friends, maybe the truth is something else entirely. Maybe the demon was the one who scattered that power to begin with. But why? Could Akuri be connected to it? Could she be a young demon herself? There was no clear reason to stop the attack. No explanation. And yet, here we are. At that moment, Julicia couldn't even stand. She was about to pass out. Kor rushed over to her and she stood up, shocked. "How did Akuri fall from above? Me like a drop from the sky?" she said. "Maybe she used some kind of teleportation crystal or something." That demon girl escaped. And then, something weird started happening with the pigs. All the pigs were exhausted and collapsing to the ground. "Oh no, oh crap! We have to get these pigs back in shape!" So they worked their magic, literally, and not only brought the pigs back to life, but healed them up so well that the customer came back all smiles. She was super happy that the pigs were perfectly fine. She thanked them a ton. Meanwhile, Cora was riding the dragon, saw something strange, and decided to land. Back to Yuli and Akori, they started discussing that demon girl. Yuli was like, "The demon pulled her power back and didn't let the fire spell explode. That must mean Akori has some connection to this. I mean, she canceled the spell herself. Or wait, I mean the demon girl canceled it," she continued. "Remember how she looked shaken when she stared at us back then? I can't help but think she was trying to avoid hurting Akori, but I'm not sure. I need more info on this. And on Akori, can she really use teleportation magic?" At that moment, Kor landed, with the demon girl captured. Julicia was shocked. "How the heck did you do that, kid? I've been fighting her for like 2-3 hours and couldn't land a hit, and you grabbed her in 5 minutes?" He said. "Let me tell you what happened." Then we see a flashback. Kor finds her unconscious. "What should I do?" he mumbles. So he makes a herbal potion. She wakes up a bit and asks, "What are you doing, kid?" He tells her he's making medicine. She laughs. "You idiot, you're showing mercy to your enemies now? But you also did that," he replies. "If you hadn't canceled that spell, Julicia and Akori would have been toast. That's reason enough for me to save you." Then he tosses her the potion. "Drink it, or you'll die." She drinks it immediately, but then passes out again. "Sorry," Kor says. "I'm a coward. I added a sleeping agent in there. You'll be out for 3 days." Back to the present. Kor finishes his story and takes her back to their place where they tie her up. Just then, Sina arrives, relieved to see Akori back safe and sound. Everyone had been worried about her. Heck, even Liz came rushing in to check on her. Suddenly, a tall stranger appears. "Welcome back," he says. They're all like, "Who's this dude?" Liz recognizes him. "That's the master of the artisan's workshop, the fake one." Everyone's jaw drops. No way. They actually did that? And with that, our episode ends. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and smash that bell icon so you don't miss the next one. See you soon. Our episode kicks off when this strange guy named Rikuto shows up and says, "I'm looking forward to working with you all, but something's off. This guy is supposed to be the new workshop master?" Julicia talks to herself thinking, "No way! That man can't possibly be the master of the artist's workshop." She quickly calls over to Kor. "Hey, go make dinner, now!" Then she tells Sina, "Take care of Akori." But Rikuto, he starts creeping toward Julicia in a seriously disturbing way, like he's about to assault her or something. She gives him a chilling stare, then bam! She kicks him, but he's not there? That's when Ulysses realizes it was all an illusion. Finally, she figures it out. It was a trick from Liz. A damn clever one, too. Liz tells her, it's just an illusion. What you saw, it looked like Kor when he was 20, right? But he's not actually here. Suddenly, they get a message from Mimiko. She says she'll be arriving in 3 days with results from her investigation into Akori. Fast forward, Mimiko finally arrives. She sits them down and says, so after analyzing hair and saliva samples that Yuli took from the girl, they're a perfect match for human samples. But we also found traces of a crystal-like magical substance under her nails, specifically spatial teleportation magic, which is supposed to be impossible in humans. She continues, we've got records of spatial magic being used, but only by monsters and birds, never humans. That's the same type of magic residue we found on her body, which means Akori might be a monster, but then again, she doesn't seem to know what she is. She talks like a human, eats like a human, acts like one too, but she's not human. Frankly, I'm terrified we've got something like her walking around in this workshop. Then Mimiko adds, I think it's best we place a sealing curse on her, so she can't use that teleportation magic anymore, and keep her in a research lab. At that point, Kor snaps, you're not doing that! She stares at him. Why not? Why are you against this? Kor throws a question right back at her. Are you afraid of me, Mimiko? She answers, of course not. Then he asks, is that because you believe I'd never hurt you? She replies, you're my friend. I trust you. Kor says, exactly. Same reason. I trust her. Akori went straight to the Dragon Slayer alone because she was worried he was still asleep. She's got a kind heart. I never felt fear around her, not even once. So no, she's staying with us. I won't let anyone take her away. Ulysses nods. I'm with you. She saved my life once, you know. And besides, if there's no solid proof she's a monster, then she's not like the others. She's something else. I trust that girl. I feel safe around her. Miku agreed with them, but now it was time to deal with something serious. The dragon hunter who attacked them. When Miku asked where she was, Ko told her, she's locked up in the storage room, second basement floor. Then Yumiko chimed, and please, Miku, don't send my dragon hunter to prison, I'm begging you. Miku looked at him and said, I'm sorry, Ku, but she's a demon, humanity's natural enemy. Cut to Mimiko walking into the room where the dragon hunter is being held. She pulls out a syringe and injects it, waking her up. Can we talk now? Mimiko asks. The demon replies coldly, warriors only speak when necessary. She tries to use her fire powers, but Mimiko shuts her down. Don't even try it. The walls are sealed with runes. You can't do anything in here. Then Mimiko leans in. Tell me, do you have any allies outside? The demon stares her down. I'm not answering you. You didn't defeat me. That boy, Ku, did. I'll answer his questions and his alone. So, they bring in Ku, just like she wanted. Ku walks in with a half smile. How you doing, Miss Demon? I'm fine, she replies. But this rope's kinda tight, you know? Oh, sorry about that. Ko shrugs. They told me not to untie you till we finish talking. But if you cooperate, we'll make things more comfortable. She looks at him seriously. Do you know Hildegard? His eyes widen. Yeah, I was actually hoping to see her again. Been wondering where she's at. Ulysses, confused, asks, who's this girl you're talking about? Ko explains, she was the daughter of a merchant, used to visit our village a lot, had horns. Just like this demon here. I figured maybe they knew each other. The demon asks, did she wear the griffin crest? Ku thinks back, remembers the symbol on Hildegard's outfit. Yeah, she did. The demon's voice becomes urgent. Ku, please. I want to save Hildegard. How? He asks. Where is she? She's being held under Margrave Tycoon's castle. Everyone is stunned. Ku clenches his fists. That bastard! How could he do something like that? He turns to Ulysses. We have to save her. Ulysses puts a hand on his shoulder. Hold on. We can't just believe her words. She might be playing you. Ulysses wasn't easily fooled. She was sharp. She hits her with a direct question. If you wanted to save Hildegard, then why attack Akori right away? The demon replies calmly, I was investigating the Margrave's plans. And the Margrave? He was already investigating you all. Then, I saw the girl, the one who teleports out of nowhere. With her powers, she could rescue Hildegard. Ko suddenly understands. She attacked Akori for her teleportation magic, the one thing that could break into the dungeon under the castle. Ulysses steps in again. Ku, don't let this monster manipulate you. There's no proof she's telling the truth. But the demon says, look at my necklace. They glance at it, and Ulysses' eyes widen. It's Hildegard's pendant. The demon explains, she gave it to me. I used it to cancel her magic spell. She even gave me her voice, her last words. Mimiko speaks up. Then we have to go save Hildegard. But this demon stays locked up. If she escapes, we lose our only shot. The demon nods. My name is Soulflare. Just then, Akori enters the room ready to talk, but Kao raises a hand. Not now, Akori. This is really important. Then Kurt starts talking to Mimiko, saying, I know I said I'd save Hildegard, but honestly, I don't even know what to do. The whole thing just feels hopeless. Mimiko looks at him and goes, well, tough luck. But this isn't just your problem anymore. It's everyone's problem now, so leave this part to me. She pulls out a map and continues. These are the blueprints for the Margrave Tycoon's estate. Then she lays down the info. The Margrave's full name is Tanga Kokaluka Tycoon. He's 47 years old. His wife, Farnard, died 10 years ago, shortly after giving birth to their eldest daughter, Famille. And word is, Famille passed away last year from some illness. Mimico adds, there's one room in the entire estate that only the Margrave himself is allowed to enter. But someone saw him carrying food into that room. Solfleur jumps in. That room's always been locked. I tried to open it before, but it supposedly got some serious lock on it. Even a pro treasure hunter would take a while to break in. Then Lisa gets an idea. Well, if we can't open it, then let's make him open it for us. We'll create a fake thief. Make it look like someone snuck in using magic to phase through walls and stuff. That way the Margrave will panic and open the door himself. Mimico nods. But we gotta trick him smartly, no dumb moves. Lisa then suggests the perfect guy to play this phantom thief. Let's get Rikoto. He's the master of the illusionist artist workshop. And guess what? There's a 3-day festival coming up in his city next week. Perfect excuse. We'll visit under the pretense of tourism and meeting the new workshop master. Ulysia asks, okay, but what about Kurt? Isn't it risky to leave him alone in the workshop with a demon girl? Lisa laughs. Nah, we'll bring him along too. We'll tell him it's for market research, you know, to see what sells. Well, in that region, what the people like, how good their goods are, that kind of thing. Then she adds, we'll make our move on the 3rd day of the festival. By then, the soldiers should be totally exhausted. So the first 2 days, just enjoy the festival and study the local market. Scene shift. Now we're with Kurt, his friends, and Rikoto. Rikoto notices Akori's with them and says, didn't expect you here. Kurt explains, yeah, I asked her to keep an eye on the workshop along with Sakura, but she insisted on coming to help rescue Hildegard. Rikoto chuckles and says, don't worry, I won't let anything happen. As a member of the royal family, I can't just stand by while a woman gets kidnapped. Everyone's jaw drops. Kurt stares at him. Wait, you're royalty? Rikoto calmly nods. Yup, but keep it a secret, okay? Soon, they all arrive at the inn they'll be staying in. Rikoto says he's heading out. He's got to prepare for the festival greetings and stuff. Then Ulysia also excuses herself, saying she has to dig into the whole Margrave Tycoon situation. She tells Kurt, watch over Lisa and Akori for me. Tomorrow, all right? Kurt offers to go with her, but Lisa shuts it down. Nope, you're coming with me to the festival. Market research is serious business. Then she grins. Besides, you gotta stay and look after Akori too. She's here to have fun at the festival. Kurt agrees. He doesn't want Akari to go through the same painful experience he once did. He promises he'll do his best to make sure she enjoys herself. The next morning, the festival kicks off, and everyone's in a great mood. We see Kurt and Akari at the festival. He's carrying her on his back so they don't get separated in the crowd. Then Liz, surprised, says to Kurt, they're selling cactus juice with no thorns. That's a rare product from the desert country of Torshan. When you slice it, sweet water gushes out. It's actually super tasty. Kurt buys them some of that cactus juice. Akari takes a sip and loves it. It's so good, she says, then hands it to Kurt so he can taste it too. He tries it. Whoa, that's sweet and delicious. Liz turns to Kurt and says, I heard you traveled all across our lands back when you were an adventurer. You must have seen a ton of festivals. Kurt chuckles. Yeah, I did, but I was always the one fixing up the party's gear or guarding the wagon in the stables. It wasn't really my place to enjoy the festivals. I always wanted to, though. Liz smiles. Well then, today the 3 of us will enjoy it together. We'll make up for all the fun you missed. We see them playing games, buying trinkets, just genuinely having a blast. Akari is so happy being with them. Later on, Liz says, let's get away from the noise and find a quiet spot. There's a beautiful park that runs along the moat by the castle. They even set up a confession stage there. I'm sure Kurt's feeling great right now. The world probably looks so bright in his eyes. When he turns around, I want him to see that I've always been right there in that light with him. She heads over to Kurt, but finds him standing sadly, looking toward the Margrave Tycoon's castle. How could I forget? He mutters. You can see it from here. Liz asks, are you worried about Hildegard? Kurt replies, no, everyone promised we'd save her. I need to trust them instead of worrying, but the fact that I can't do anything myself, it hurts. Liz tells him, you broke the curse that was holding me down. You built an amazing workshop, and everyone loves the food you cook. That's only because I just happened to be there when it was needed. He says quietly, that's not true, Liz thinks to herself, but telling him that won't reach the depths of his heart. There's only one thing I can do. She steps closer. I'm grateful to you, Kurt. I'm not alone anymore. And I know Riccardo said it's his duty as a royal to save Hildegard, but that's not why this matters. We all love you, and we want to help you. That's why we're going to save Hildegard. We're with you. Kurt, moved, says, I love you all too. That's the reason I always want to be useful, for everyone's sake. Liz smiles. That's what love is. People helping each other. Let's all work together. and do what each of us can do. Liz thinks to herself, this was supposed to be my big moment to confess. I guess things didn't go how I imagined, but when I saw Kurt's genuine smile, that was enough for me today. And that wraps up today's episode. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss what's coming next. See you in the next episode. Alright, so our story today kicks off bright and early with Ulysses. She was saying, I had to ask Kor to make me a new sword after my last one got totally wrecked in that fight against the big demon. And sure enough, Kor had already tracked down most of the materials he needed. Yep, folks, it's a high-grade mithril and adamantite alloy he's cooking up in this tiny little crucible. This old guy sees it and is like, seriously? How are you gonna make a sword in a little pot like that? He's actually laughing, making fun of him, saying, no way, man! Impossible. But hey, can't blame you for trying. Here, I'll lend you my trusty tools. Go nuts. Use whatever you want. And get this, folks! About an hour later, Kor had actually made the sword. Ulysses tried it out and was blown away. It was insanely powerful. The old guy was so shocked by how amazing it was, he nearly had a heart attack. He's like, what kind of skill is that? Seriously, Kor's a master at everything. I think, I'm gonna pack up and quit. I need to go back and relearn my craft from scratch. So the guy leaves, and we see the sword just gleaming like flowers sparkling in ice. Ulysses is totally thrilled with her awesome new sword. Then, the scene shifts to the marketplace. Kor's talking about Corey, saying she hasn't said a word or woken up yet because the festival yesterday had her so wound up all day. She really needs to sleep it off and get some rest, but Ulysses wasn't really thinking about that. She was picturing going on a date with Kor. Looks like she's got a thing for him. She's wondering, I have no idea where Liz went with him last night, but I deserve to have a good day too. I'm gonna show him the difference between me and Liz. Right. Then, we see these two huge dudes in front of the Full Moon Cakes shop. The shop owner's pleading with them. Please, guys, stop. Don't trash my shop. This is how I make a living, my bread and butter. And they just tell him, shut your trap, idiot. Nobody needs a dump like your shop. Now beat it. That's when Kor steps in. Hey, knock it off, you morons. What the heck is going on here? Why are you doing something like this? They snap back. Mind your own business. Kor tries to reason with them. But why are you doing it? One of them sneers. The meat cakes in this dump are disgusting. So, we're doing a public service, trashing his shop to make sure no other customers accidentally buy his garbage. So Kor grabs one and tells the owner, I'll buy one of these to try. He takes a bite and says, this is amazing. He's using top quality, carefully selected meats in his recipe. How can you guys say his food's no good? The short thug gets all mad and yells, what's your problem, you idiot? Get lost. Who do you think you are? Acting like some kind of food critic? Then he hauls off and punches Kor. Ulysses jumps in to defend him, shouting, he's an employee of the Artisans Guild. This totally freaks out the thugs because the Artisans Guild is usually packed with nobles. If they got caught messing with someone from the guild, they'd be in deep trouble. So they decide to make a run for it, and they bolt from the scene. Then Kor checks on the shop owner and says, man, it looks like you've got some broken bones. Let me patch you up. There's a clinic just down the road. You'll be all right. And Kor hoists the guy onto his back and takes off running. Okay. Then the little girl starts crying and Yuli tells her, hey, everything's gonna be all right. Your dad will be okay. Just then, Yuli spots this girl, Phantom, selling some cool-looking drinks. Kinda like prickly pear juice. She gets one for the little girl. Kor comes back right then and says, looks like it was pretty serious. He's got broken bones, so the shop owner will be in the hospital until tomorrow. So Kor decides he's going to stay and help out at the shop until her dad gets back. He'd promised the owner he'd help her out and wouldn't leave her hanging. But Yuli's pretty ticked off because her date with Kor for the day is totally shot, and now she's stuck with this. Anyway, they all agree Kor will help. Yuli then orders Kor, all right, whip up one of your super delicious cakes and fast. Use whatever different ingredients you can find. Kor thinks for a second and says, okay, that's right up my alley. And, hey, I can even teach the little girl here. Luna, her name is, right? The secret recipe. Yuli asks him, so what do you need? What ingredients should I go buy? He tells her, look, go buy as many ripe prickly pears as you can find from that street stall on Main Street. Then go home and get those red beans you won as a prize yesterday. While you're doing that, I'm gonna do some digging around here. Yuli's like, digging? What are you gonna dig now? He just says, don't worry, I'll be quick. Meanwhile, in another scene, we see these official-looking guys, probably judges, tasting food. Then we spot this yellow-haired chef with an evil laugh, saying, I paid off that white-haired judge. He's in my pocket. I can make him do whatever I want. Elsewhere, other people are eating some amazing cakes and saying how good they are. They ask where the cakes are from, and they're told, they're full moon cakes from the Full Moon Shop. You know, the place owned by the guy Kor rescued. So people start heading over there to try them. That yellow-haired chef gets furious and yells, how did this happen? Those thugs I hired were supposed to wreck that shop. He rushes over there and finds the place is totally slammed. There's a massive line and business is booming. He's thinking, thinking, how did all this happen? What are they doing to get all these customers? Just then, some inspectors show up and say to him, "What are you doing here, Gargoyle? You here to watch the show too? Everyone's raving about this place." At that moment, the girl, Lena, comes up to them and says, "Please try one of our cakes and judge for yourselves." They open it up and see it's really dark, almost black. They're like, "What is this?" She explains, "It's sweet red bean paste. It's been boiled down and strained. I also heard it's a sweet treat from the Far East called anko." So, Luna is telling them, it's a sweet treat from the Far East called anko. The old man takes a bite and says, it has a light, fruity aroma too." Luna beams. That's the spineless cactus. Then she recalls what Core told her. When the fruit gets super ripe, it actually holds on to more sugar, which makes the juice inside a bit bitter. But if you dice up the fruit, add a little water, then press it and boil it down, you get this amazing cactus honey, Luna goes on. So, I mix that cactus honey with the boiled red beans to make the sweet anko. Everyone is just blown away by how good it tastes. It's seriously delicious. The old man chimes in. The dough is so fluffy too. I'll admit, I was a little shocked by how it looked at first, but with this amazing smell. Then Luna adds, and it only costs 1 copper. Coin! The evil chef, Gargoyle, is stunned that they actually like it. He tries a piece himself and, surprise, finds it's really good. "Wow, the more you eat, the happier you feel," he mutters, almost impressed. Ulysses walks over and asks them, "So what do you think of the cake?" One of the girls in the group answers, "I'm totally amazed. This cake is so soft and fluffy. You must have a secret to making it." Ulysses grins. "Yep, our temporary shop owner here, Core, is pretty serious about his craft. He says when you make dough using water that has baking soda in it and then steam it, it gives you that really soft, fluffy texture." Gargoyle scoffs. "Water with baking soda? And where would you get something like that?" Ulysses explains. "From natural hot springs. These cakes are kneaded and steamed with hot spring water that's drawn from deep underground, right here in this area. So, you could even call them hot spring cakes. In fact, Core dug a new spring today." The chef is like, "No way! It's impossible to just dig a hot spring that easily." Ulysses just shrugs. "Well, he is an employee of the Artisans Guild." "You know," Gargoyle snaps back. "How dare he! You can't just go digging up a hot spring without the Margrave knowing about it. Even an Artisan Guild member would be severely punished for a crime like that." Ulysses smirks. "Oh, but we got permission. With Princess Liz's help, we got it all sorted out. It's totally legit. The hot spring Core dug, it's going to be managed by the city from now on. This little rest area here is going to be a footbath, a brand new tourist spot." Gargoyle is furious. "That's all a pack of lies." He glares at the old judge. "I'm paying you. You know what you're supposed to do." But the old judge shakes his head. "I can't give this shop a bad review, and frankly, I don't need the money you promised me." Just then, Gargoyle spots his thugs. "You guys!" he yells. "Go smash that shop! I don't care if you get thrown in jail. I'll figure something out to get you out." But then, one of the thugs speaks, and it's a girl's voice. The chef is stunned. It's Princess Liz and her friends, and they were in disguise. Liz tells him coolly, "Those men you thought you could use so easily? They're already locked up nice and tight in a dungeon." Ulysses steps forward. Her eyes narrowed at Gargoyle. "And we heard that you're the one who supplies the Margrave's personal cooks. Word is, you've been reusing leftovers from his table in your own restaurant. And the worst part? They say you even add addictive substances to your food to keep customers coming back for more. That's completely illegal, Gargoyle. We figured it out because all the cooks in the castle, they're your guys." Liz adds with a slight smile. "And when I borrowed your form," implying she disguised herself as him or one of his cronies, "they were more than happy to spill all your dirty little secrets." Gargoyle is enraged and screams, "I won't let it end like this. I won't be finished here." But Liz's guards quickly grab him. Liz looks down at him and says, "Oh, I don't think you'll be getting out of prison for the rest of your life after this little stunt. Gargoyle, you're under arrest for treason." Then Liz says to Ulysses, "So you didn't get to enjoy your date, huh? I was wondering what happened when I saw you come back to the inn alone." Ulysses told her she was just happy she could bring some joy to Luna and Core. After that, the Margrave tycoon finds out Gargoyle's been arrested. His aide tells him, yeah, but he threatened Princess Liz while she was trying to enjoy the festival. And while they were investigating, they uncovered even more of his shady deals. Since the cooks he sent us were also involved, they've all been arrested too. "The third princess is arriving tomorrow," the Margrave tycoon exclaims. "How are we supposed to throw a tea party for her without any cooks?" His aide replies, "I have a suggestion for that, sir. Why don't we feature the dish that won the cooking competition as the centerpiece for the tea party? We just got the judge's report a little while ago, and it looks like a sweet cake was chosen as the winner." "All right. Then," the Margrave tycoon says, "bring that chef here first thing in the morning." Later, the Margrave speaks with Liz. "You've come to visit me several times when really, I should have been the one to come to you." Liz replies, "I'll visit tomorrow with our master artisan." After she leaves, the Margrave thinks to himself, I need to create a chance to talk with the master artisan alone, to tell him my deepest wishes. Then Kor goes to see Rikuto and gives him the market research report from yesterday. Kor then asks, "So, is this the Lord's castle?" Ulysses tells him, "We're going to rescue Hildegard. Here's a quick rundown. Our target is behind the kitchen." Rikuto says he's got that annoying lock on it that keeps people out. So, we'll have to investigate, get some proof that Hildegard is actually being held there, and then convince him to release her. Kor tells him, "I'm counting on you, Rikuto." Liz quickly changes her clothes. Ulysses then says to Liz, "The butterfly needs to be drawn from its sheath to control its illusions, but we can't exactly walk into a meeting with the Margrave holding a drawn sword. Plus, there's the problem of things passing through illusions. So, the strategy we came up with to get around both these issues is this. You'll create an illusion of Rikuto and an illusion of yourself not holding the butterfly. Then, the real you will turn invisible. After that, the invisible you will support the illusions to make them seem solid since you can actually carry things. Finally, they arrive at the location.